Oh my gosh. I have not been on live in forever. Hi, you guys. Hi. Okay, there they are. Hey, everybody. I'm going to add Redefined Goods and we'll get started. Hi.
Hi, mine's still loading. I'll see you soon. Oh, there we go. Hey,
How are you?
you. Cool.
This is like my first time meeting you.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey. It was
So,
nice to.
oh, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I just said it's nice to meet you.
You too. Okay, so I guess we could just do intros and then I had like a cute little icebreaker for us to do and then we could just get started.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so hey everybody, I'm Riley K. This is the first episode of Watered Down. I just wanted to honestly bring a platform and like talk about environmental topics, something that I'm passionate about, to you guys because I know kind of uses rhetoric and diction that kind of makes people not want to learn about it. So I was like, water that junk down. So here we are. Um, and yeah, so this is the first episode. We'll be talking about sustainable fashion. And my lovely guest host is, oh, you could go.
Hi, I'm Mia. Um, I'm the person behind Redefined Goods. We'll get into, I guess, what that is in a little bit. But I'm super excited to be here. I didn't realize that this was the first episode, actually, so I'm very honored that you invited me for this. And this is actually my first like live interview kind of setting, so
Me
I'm
too.
really how
Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the icebreaker. So the icebreaker is like this or that, and it's like a fashion edition. So I'm just gonna ask you like, what would you rather prefer?
okay.
Okay. So jeans or leggings,
Jeans,
fancy or casual,
casual,
overdressed or underdressed,
underdressed,
Underdressed? Heels or sneakers,
sneakers.
sneakers, sunglasses or a hat.
Ooh. Sunglasses.
That- And last one, neutral or colorful.
Hmm. Colorful.
Colorful.
Yeah. I'm at like a crossroads personally, but I think still more colorful.
Okay. So I guess we could just jump right into the questions. So the first question is, tell us about Redefined Goods and like, what's your story?
Okay. So Redefined Goods, I started it back in 2019, and I just wanted to apply my knowledge of sewing to create a sustainable product. My mom, I think my mom's on here. I saw her. My mom taught me how to sew when I was like 9 years old, 10 years old, and she just taught it to me as like a practical skill. And it ended up being a really big hobby of mine and something that I did all through middle school and high school. And then after my first year of college, I just felt called to kind of explore that area of my life and just devote more time to being creative. So I was kind of just messing around at first. I initially started selling women's clothes that I made out of like men's shirts. And then that's when I first started getting into like sustainability. I decided to double major in marketing and sustainability studies. So I was just like learning a lot more about it. And I realized that I really wanted to create a product that, like was advancing sustainability. And at the same time, I wanted it to be like something that would be useful for everyone. So I felt like my women's clothes were like kind of niche, like a really specific market. Only women like would be wearing it, I guess. And I wanted to make something more broad. And I randomly made the first tote bag in February of 2019. And the look of the tote really hasn't changed that much. It looks pretty much exactly the same, and I've just improved the quality over time. And I've expanded into other products like bucket hats, yoga mat straps, scrunchies, masks, water bottle slings, and things like that. Um, and I realized that I don't think I mentioned it at all, but I only use secondhand materials. And I've been doing that since I first started sewing. And when I first started, it was kind of just out of necessity because that's like, it's super affordable to do it that way. I would go to Joann's and try to get new fabric, and it would be so expensive. And then my dad was actually really into thrifting, like since I was young. So I was exposed to it from a young age. And I would go to a thrift store and see that like a huge dress is like $5, and that's a ton of fabric. So I kind of just got used to like, oh, like I could just get fabric from here. And then it's like cool and vintage.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I've just been doing that for the past, I guess it's been 2-ish years now. Feels longer, but also shorter. And I started off, I was just doing it on Instagram, and now I have a website. And I participate in a lot of in-person markets and things like that.
Yeah, no, I'm I don't know if I've like been stalking the page forever, but like I started following 2019. I like went on Instagram and I'm like, yo, like I really wanted to learn about I don't know what I was into or like what I was doing then, but I was like looking up sustainable everything and then I finally typed in sustainable fashion and I was like, yo, like this girl does it and she's in Gainesville, which wasn't far from where I was. So I'm like, this is so cool. And I think just watching the journey of the company evolve has been such an amazing sight. I'm so like honestly, even though I don't know you, I'm so proud.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
I, and like when I thought about the show or like the episode, I'm like, yo, like I wonder if I could ask her, like, is this okay? Like, can we do this? So I'm definitely glad that we were able to get together and do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's funny that you say that because I think when I first started, I wasn't even, it was so natural for me to just use secondhand materials that I wasn't even like, and I was so new to marketing. I had like just switched my major. I used to be pre-med. So I wasn't even like, okay, like marketing tactics, like people are into sustainability, things like that. It was kind of just like, this is how I make shit. So that's what I'm going to do. And then it kind of just like aligned so perfectly with this like awakening. And I think we're going to be talking about that today of just like, people realizing that this is important, and it's become so much more mainstream for people to be like seeking out these alternatives and supporting them, which is really cool. And I feel like I just like am so lucky to be existing at this exact point in time. It's just such a turning point.
Yeah,
Really cool to be a part of it.
yeah, I love that. Okay, so you honestly just said it, but why is sustainable fashion a necessity in society right now? Or like, why do you think it's a necessity now?
Um, So I think it's a necessity because what we're doing right now, clearly isn't working, or what we have been doing clearly isn't working. In so many areas, not even just fashion, we've like created these systems that just extract resources at such an alarming rate and create more products than we could ever need. Which reduces the value of like each additional product, because we're just being so overflowed with material. And then on top of that, we're constantly told that what we already have isn't good enough. So we need to get rid of it and get the next best thing. So it's just like the most broken system. It's shocking when you really think about it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, sustainable fashion to me, I think is, it's not just the same products that we use every day, but with slightly less environmental impact. It's really like a philosophy, and we're choosing to evaluate the role that fashion plays in our lives. And it's not just about like following the next trend or like flexing on Instagram. It's about like being a conscious consumer and expecting and like demanding that the brands that you are supporting align with your personal values. Because the reality is that every time that you buy something from a brand, we're telling them like, I support what you're doing. So, when you give that money to fast fashion, you're supporting like what they're doing. And we'll get into that eventually. But yeah, it's just like, when as a consumer, it's like your responsibility, but also your right to be looking into what these companies are doing, because they're going to be using your money to continue to advance their own goals. So you better be aligned with those goals.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I wrote down stuff if people didn't know. So you guys, I'm just gonna like read off what I have here. So people that don't know what sustainable fashion is or like what's going on, they'll be caught up to date. So the Google definition of sustainable fashion is a movement and process of fostering change to fashion products and the fashion system towards greater ecological integrity and social justice. So that's just a fancy way of saying sustainable fashion wants to be eco-friendly and kind of decrease inequalities that take place in the fashion industry. So fashion is a way to it's definitely a way to express oneself, I believe. But more recently, like you said, fast fashion has dominated. And I'm gonna admit it. I am guilty of giving my money to these places because, like, if it's something that I'm like, ooh, that's such a nice pattern, like I'm quick to jump on it. So some examples for you guys, if you guys don't know, but like Fashion Nova, Forever 21, H&M, like those are examples because they're always producing new clothes. It's almost like every week they're like, hey, got a new has a new like line of clothes, and I'm just like, dang, like it's almost like you have to keep buying and keep buying. And but once they're not trendy anymore, they're did something? Oh, I think somebody people are waving. But once it's not trendy anymore, they're tossed into landfills. And I wrote down fashion industry is responsible for 10% of all greenhouse gas emissions, which I did not know. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like you don't think fashion has any, say in, yeah, my sister's like Target, Shein, yeah, like these places, because she knows I love Shein, but like these places are, like honestly creating ecological damage. And then I wrote, it puts pressure on valuable resources like water, it pollutes the environment, degrades ecosystems. And it's also a part of it is unsafe labor conditions. So, like, you don't know I mean, we buy into this market, but then you also don't know if the labor or people that are actually creating the clothes that we love, are they getting treated properly? Are they getting compensated like the way they should be? So, it's a whole like thing with fast fashion. So I'm glad you brought it up and I'm glad, you had something to say about it. So the next question, I
Oh,
got my,
before on, I just wanted to mention that there's a video that I'm going to try to remember the exact name of, but it kind of summarized like um, this part specifically that you said about like the living conditions that these people are working in. And like fast fashion is obviously so attractive to people because it is so affordable. And that's how we're able to justify a lot of these things, because it's like, I don't have a ton of money. Like I can't be going and, dropping like, I don't know, 50, 100, $150 on like these articles of clothing. So fast fashion seems like a really great option, but the reality is like, not to get all like into physics, but like there is someone somewhere or something is paying for that difference. Like it's not like we just pull that value out of nothing. Like energy is not created or destroyed, so the reason that those clothes are so affordable is because like the planet paid for it. The
yeah,
people lived in terrible conditions getting paid so far less than a living wage paid for it, and that's why you're able to get these things for like $20, when the
yeah,
reality that thing didn't cost $20. It was just paid for already by this like broken ass system.
yeah,
Um, and that can be like, that applies to so many consumer goods, like not just fashion.
yeah. Law of energy. Yeah, you said it. it doesn't just come. No, I'm glad you said that. It doesn't just come out of thin air. It comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
Um,
It was, I think it's called like The Cost of Stuff. It's this really great YouTube video. It's kind of like, because I this is something that we've talked about. I'm like about to graduate with my sustainability major, and something
yeah,
that we talk all the time. And I'm so excited. Get me out of here. But but something that we talk about a lot is like it's the reason you're doing this show is like we've known about climate change for like over 100 years. You know, this is not new information at all, but the way that it's studied, and it's just so like it's so bogged down by like scientific jargon that it's incommunicatable to people who can actually make a difference.
yeah,
There's just such a massive need for things like this, and I think that's where sustainable fashion comes in to like find a way to communicate these ideas to the masses in a way that like they understand and can get behind, because like I'm not going to be reading that scientific journal article about the interaction of like nitrogen in the air. You know, it's just like we have to be realistic here, and we have to be talking to everyone. Oh, it probably is that video. My mom just sent something.
oh, she put in the chat. Oh, good.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, yeah. Like nobody's gonna read those articles. I mean, we do because like we're like so. Oh my gosh, like I need to learn this. But people that don't really care about this stuff like that, they're not gonna read it. So it's like if I can't understand it or comprehend it, I'm not going to do it.
yeah, absolutely.
So the next question is, what materials do you gravitate towards and ones you try to stay away from? Because I know like there's certain materials that are like considered eco-friendly, and then there's some that are like, no, don't go to them. So what do you prefer?
So I think I'm in a unique situation with this because I think a lot of sustainable brands are like making workout clothes out of recycled bottles, you know, things like that, where they're really, you know, they're they're kind of creating from raw materials. You know, they're making this new fabric or whatever. But I'm in a situation where I only use secondhand materials. So really, the materials that I gravitate towards are like the ones that I can find. So I use a lot of like I use a lot of jeans. I used to use a lot of just like clothes in general, like button down shirts and things like that. But I realized over time that um, as people, as thrifting becomes more mainstream, people are buying clothes, which is great. Like that's what we want. Something that's not really being bought as much is like home textiles, like bed sheets, pillowcases, curtains, like things like that are still not really being moved. So that's kind of what I have started moving towards. And then it also works out for me because like no one really cares about that stuff. So I can just walk in at any given time, like take a peek at the home section, get my materials, and be out in just a few minutes instead of having to like really dig through clothes. Which like I'm happy to do if it's like for clothes that I'm gonna wear. But once it's a business, I'm not really trying to I'm not trying to like sit there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the nature of my products, I only really stay away from like stretchy materials just because for things like tote bags and bucket hats, things like that, it's like you want the structure of, you know, like 100% cotton
Yeah.
or that, as opposed to like spandex and
Want it
nylon.
hefty.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to put something in my bag and just have it sag, you know. It's gotta hold up.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, oh my gosh, we have like, I think, but you already talked about, I already asked you about fast fashion, but what are your views on it? Like, are you like, okay, so there's certain people that are like, strictly like I only buy this, I only drink from this, I only eat this way. Like, are you like that with your fashion, or like are you kind of fluid?
I well, okay. I am pretty strict, I
Okay.
guess, but mostly just because I it's very hard for me at this point to pay for anything that is not like a thrift store price. I'm just so used to it that I'm just like
Yeah.
even fashion stuff, I'm kind of like that's kind of expensive. So So
Yeah.
I'm pretty strict, but I actually have been okay, well, let me backtrack to my views in general on fast fashion because I think this is something that's like really controversial in this space. And, I'm not about shaming people who support these brands. I just think that that's like never really constructive. But I think that the truth at the same time is that there are so many other options. And
Yeah.
something I hear a lot is that, sustainable brands are too expensive. And like, I kind of feel that, because I think that the way that capitalism has kind of been able to pick up sustainability is that it's created this, like what's the word? Not luxury, but like higher end
Yeah.
market
It's
for
like
these products. Yeah, yeah,
versatility.
because it's like good for the planet, which is great for the people who can afford to do that. But then I feel like if people think that that is the definition of sustainable fashion, I'm thinking like off the top of my head, like Woven is that like um, workout clothes brand that makes stuff out of plastic water bottles, or like Pila cases. I think that's them. Like companies that actively are like creating new products with these sustainable materials. That's really great, but that's not the only route to sustainable fashion. Like to me, that's one of the last routes. Like I honestly don't know if I've ever like made a purchase at a brand like that, um, just because like for me sustainable fashion is like thrifting,
Yeah.
thread up, depop. You can get so many like really high quality items for so much less than like any fast fashion outlet, and obviously these like sustainable fashion brands. And those sustainable fashion brands are great, and I think specifically for workout clothes they're really useful because like thrifting workout clothes is a little bit harder. They don't really have like Lulu in there or something. At least a lot of the time, I've gotten kind of lucky, but for those things, I think that I totally see the value in them. I'm just literally so cheap at this point. Um, but yeah, things like Depop are really great because the money is going to go like directly to the seller, and curating those collections of vintage clothes and managing a store is like hard work. Um, Sorry, I have like notes that I'm also looking at. I'm not just staring into the distance. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that fast fashion, and this is why I don't like shaming people at all. Like fast fashion, like has done a great job of separating the harsh reality of like where those clothes come from like the aspirational pictures that are all over their Instagram feeds. Like they don't want you to know. Like
Yeah.
that's the point, that you don't know. So you're not wrong for not knowing. But I think that like you don't, the alternative isn't necessarily to have to like buy so much, like to have to invest so much in these expensive sustainable brands. Like just kind of explore the areas, like explore stuff in your area. Like I think you're at UCF in Orlando, right? Yeah, like they have things like Avalon Exchange is really great. And actually, have you ever been to the
Down. I'm gonna need. No, I'm telling people. I hope they're writing it down because I'm gonna be asking them like, "Hey, what did she say?" She said, "Go here."
Take notes? But I'll just shout out the Florida Vintage Market. They actually started, or I think they're from Orlando, but they live in Gainesville. I live in Gainesville, and we're so lucky in Gainesville to have like literally more vintage markets than we could ever go to. It's so cool. But the Florida Vintage Market also operates in Orlando. Oh yeah, Out of the Closet. I've never been there. I heard that's cool. But I'll send you their Instagram at. They set up at the Ace Cafe in downtown Orlando. Literally the most fire vintage market
Oh,
I've
I
ever
have.
been. It's really good, and I like because I thrift all the time. It's like it takes, not that it takes a lot, but like I typically won't buy from like a reseller thing just because I know that like I frequent thrift stores enough that like I could find something like that. But some of the stuff that they have there, I'm like, okay, you win this round. Like I can't find that. You got me. Especially for denim. Yeah, the Florida Vintage Market, I see it. Yeah, I've the past two times I've been, I've got the most fire jeans, and like stuff like that has been really hard to find recently. Um, But yeah, just go back to fast fashion. I
Yeah.
think that the reality, the separation of the reality from those aspirational like pictures that kind of prompt everyone to buy is, getting dismantled, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier. Like we're at a turning point where this is a conversation that people are having really often. And people are realizing that if they continue to buy fast fashion, then they like continue to feed into this cycle of like honestly like hurting people and exploitation and pollution and environmental degradation. And that just all comes with like the institution of fast fashion. And they're looking for alternatives, which is really cool. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was, see, like we're in tune because like the last question was besides shopping with you guys, what are ways people can tap into sustainable fashion? So like you honestly like just named like a whole bunch of places that people
Uh-huh.
go to.
Yeah, and I think something else that is not really talked about a lot in sustainable fashion is like the most sustainable thing that you could possibly wear is the clothing that you already have. like,
Did
yeah, like
that.
brands will glaze over that, but that's the truth of it. Is like the most sustainable thing is like the shit you already own. And I've been trying to practice this a lot recently because I like something that I've experienced being like such a big thrifter is like it's so cheap to thrift. So I'm gonna keep getting clothes. Like it's just so justifiable because like why would I stop? I can afford like a $3 shirt. I might as well get it. Um, and I just kind of realized I'm like, okay, but I'm still spending money and I'm still kind of feeding into like in an indirect way this constant need for new stuff and like fulfilling that expectation that like I'll constantly have something new. Um, so I think it was like in the beginning of the year when I really started trying to do it, but I just like very much audited my closet and I got rid of stuff that I didn't like really, really, really love. Or stuff that like was super fire, but I would only wear in like a specific occasion.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I got rid of some stuff, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's gotten me to this place where I have like a closet full of my favorite clothes and everything that I have like matches with itself.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to get dressed if I need to go somewhere. And now when I'm shopping for like clothing and accessories, I am like super strict about it and I'm like, okay, will I use this all the time? Um, and that's
Rule.
something, yeah,
And
like my check boxes. Yeah, my mom says when I offer to buy her stuff, she says she doesn't need it. Yeah, she'll always text me and she's like, "Do you want this?" And I'm like, "It's cute, but like I need it too." Um, but yeah, that's something that like the will I use this all the time is something that I always think about when I'm designing like my own products. Like I want to design stuff that people are going to use every day. And that's like the greatest review that I like am lucky to get really often is like I'll run into someone who's like has my tote or something and I'll be like, "Oh my God, hey, like
yeah.
that." And they're like, "I use it every day." And that's just like that's the goal, I don't want to, you know, continue to feed into this cycle of like just buying stuff for the sake of buying stuff. And yeah, so how can people tap into sustainable fashion? Oh, but really like look into the stuff that's around you. If you're in Gainesville or Orlando, I'm assuming that's where a lot of people would be coming from. Because that's where you are and that's where I am. The Florida Vintage Market is in both of those places. And markets, like ever since I started vending, have literally blown up. Like I remember when I did my first market, I did Veg Fest, um, which is a cool little like market where you can support a bunch of local businesses. But Veg Fest is like an annual event, and a lot of the markets that I was going to were like either annual or semi-annual events. Um, and now in Gainesville, there's like three monthly events on top of like a bunch of biweekly events and like quarterly events. Like there's so many things, and I think that's I've seen it be true in Orlando too, especially in the downtown area because I get hit up for all these events. Oh, there's have you been to the Waterford Market?
Yeah.
There's one there too now, and it's just so cool. Like, it's in the back. It's like behind the oh my God, I'm blanking on the word. Movie theater.
I did not know that. I
It's
have to type
it's
it now.
cool. It's pretty new, and their marketing is a little off. If I'll be honest, they could do a better job of getting the word out. But it's an awesome location, and I think it's super accessible.
You said
Um,
market?
what?
You said the Waterford Market, right?
Yeah, it's called the East Orlando Farmers Market.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like typing it because I'm gonna
yeah,
forget.
that one. It's really good. They did a makers market. I think they do those a little bit less frequently. Um, but there's definitely still a lot of oh yeah, there you go. East Orlando Farmers Market. I think like the farmers market itself is every week.
Oh, wow.
And I know a few people who've been there regularly. Yeah, there's so many things in Orlando now. Um and like things like that are just so much more fun to go to than like the mall. And then it's also COVID safer because they're always open air. Um and then you get to meet the people who run them and
Yeah.
like give them your money. So it's just like a
You should
better
get
experience
going.
overall. Yeah, and then they're like, "Thank you, yay! You just made my day." Instead of like Forever 21 being like, "Okay, like whatever, I don't care."
Like you get
Uh,
20% off if you do this survey. Like it's just a whole. It's not even. You don't
like they
connect.
do, yeah, yeah,
But this was so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this, or just being able to let me come in your space and just ask you a whole bunch of questions.
yeah. I honestly love doing it because every time I do these um type of music, it kind of reminds me, like, I know why I'm doing the stuff that I'm doing, but like, am I communicating that well enough, like in my business?
You are.
Maybe doing better. So it's a nice way to like recenter and be like, okay, like, it's not. I hope that people see it as more than just like a tote bag, and that's something that I have to actively be working towards. So this is a good way to check on that.
You're definitely. It's communicating. It's communicating
Yeah.
very. Do you have
So,
any like plugs you want to make? Like,
um, plugs. Okay. Shout out. I'm trying to think of like Orlando stuff too. Shout out. Oh, Sitting Swan. Here, should I type it? Maybe I'll type it. I'm gonna shout out Sitting Swan. I hope you can see like
oh
some of
yeah.
these things. Yeah. Um, that's another market that's in downtown Orlando. I'll tag the Florida Vintage Market. Yeah, those are great things. If you're in Orlando and you're looking to just like find ways to support small businesses and not have to pay for shipping, because I know that that can get kind of annoying. You can go see them in person. And then I think I know the East Orlando one. Oh, there we go. Cool. Um, who else? What other shout outs would I want to make?
Or like any plugs for like Redefined Goods? Like, do you guys have any? Because I know you just had a drop. I think it was like the other day. It was
Oh,
like,
yeah. It was on Friday. That was like our first one in a while. Because I've been working so many like in-person markets. So I just like make stuff for that and then it's all gone, which is great. Like yay, but I felt like I was kind of neglecting my internet homies. But yeah, for Redefined Goods, what are we doing? We're gonna have hats, more bucket hats soon. Um, we work with Sitting Swan to host a market here in Gainesville. So every other Tuesday at the Fourth Ave Food Park, if you're in Gainesville, I think I tagged Sitting Swan Gainesville. Um, but yeah, this is my Instagram link in bio. There's like one or two more bags that are available right now, and I'm working on more stuff currently. Um, but yeah, I think that's all.
I think Somebody
Oh,
said,
April 3rd market. Yeah, I'm vending at um the Swamp Records. I think it's the Swamp Records Showcase. It's like a concert here in Gainesville at the Heartwood Soundstage, which is like a really cool outdoor venue. I'm just not. It's not one of my regular markets, so I'm not sure of like how many. And I don't know how many people here are in Gainesville, but if you're in Gainesville on on Saturday from 7 to 11 p.m., I'll be out there with some stuff. And I'll post about it on my on this page too.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, well, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Mia, for coming and talking with me.
of
Um,
course.
I'm trying to think, do I have anything to say?
Yeah, like do you have a shout out?
Well, not really. I mean, it was just kind of it was more for you. I guess you guys to be on the lookout for the next episode. I guess that's all I could say.
Yay. Yeah, this seems like it'll be a really cool series and I can um actually refer you to some of my friends if you're looking for more people. Because that's something else that I don't like within the sustainable fashion community, at least at a local level, like we're all friends, which is so
That's,
so cool. And like when I pull up to a market, it's like all the homies and we just hang out and like do what we love and like this is our job.
yeah,
So it's really cool. Just like when you, it's not, it's like, yes, you're buying sustainable fashion. Yes, you're supporting that movement. But when you do it at a local level, like there's really a community there. And like, I like know a lot of my customers and I know that that's true for a lot of my friends who do this too. And like, we'll see them around and we'll be like, thank you, like you realize as a consumer, especially when you're so used to supporting just like bigger businesses, that like each purchase that you make at a small business like sticks, and we feel that like it's like, and we're very very grateful, which is just like it's just so much more. It seems like such an equal exchange because like we are making these things like this because this is how we like express ourselves, like this is like our love that we give the world, and like we can meet the people who get it and we can like have that exchange, and then they're excited to get these items, and then we know like that these things that we created are like being appreciated, and it's just such a, it feels like what consumerism should be in short.
yeah. I love that. So, oh, well, I feel like I thanked you so many times, but thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, Ben.
And yeah, so I'll talk to you guys later. Oh, people are just joining. Oh, I will hope that it posts because I don't know if Instagram posts, but I think it posts.
I think it does. Yeah, and I'd love to post this too so we can figure out how
Yeah.
that
I'm
works.
I'm pretty sure you can't. I
Yeah.
I have to end it to see, but
Yeah. Okay.
okay,
Okay. Thank you.
bye you guys.
Bye.